strong player, especially in recent memory, has been playing this Brawlhalla though, which I still don't know how to feel about it, but you're going to be running to the head-to-head of extremely tanky legends now, right? We have Neuz on the Kaya, we have Fiend on the Queen Nai, and then uses sitting here with this low defense legend. It's kind of just like, it looks like you came underdressed to the event, you know? But we'll see how it works out here. I don't know how either of these teams will do into Canon, and that's going to be something, no matter who wins, they're going to have to be able to deal with that matchup across two different teams. So we'll see how it goes. But so far, starting off pretty darn good for the blue team. I mean, this Nai, if you don't die, that is the phrase.
I mean, if I'm Neuz right now, you have pretty much no choice but to play a safety game for the entire set, unless you swap off of Finn. And then you have a lot of options, but the Brawlhalla up against the Nai, right? You have attack versus attack, so much of it, but the extra added benefit of bringing out the Nai is that you have that defense to kind of cancel out maybe what Neuz can bring to the table. But Neuz is keeping up with everybody else. A great neutral saying to keep Fiend into the sky, but I'm still worried. Anything could turn around, and if this starts to turn into a kind of a downswing for Red Team, I could easily Fiend just completely manipulate Neuz and what he can do for the rest of the game.
And this is funny. I'm watching Power like keep people sweating by throwing out that Ulgrim down sig, which across a lot of people is generally considered not to be like that great of a sig, but he's able to do a great job of just making people respect it. Despite that, both members of the red team end up losing their first stocks, and Fiend still has 3, sticking true to the motto. But as I say that, Power comes with an unarmed recovery. Now everyone has 2.
It's a good reset here. Everyone's got their weapons too, so there's no discernible disadvantage for any team just yet. I am locked in on Neuz because I want to see how he's going to distance himself from everyone on blue team and how he reacts after finding a hit. And we kind of saw that for a second against Neuz, where Neuz had that ledge guard. He was going for the side light up against the Kaya, but then he would immediately back away. He does not want to go for any starter combos just yet because of his low defense. Any reversal could just easily pendulum swing himself to being in the lower end for the rest of the game.
And I've seen it happen so many times where just the glass cannon archetype ends up losing a stock just a little too early in one of the games, and it ends up spelling the entire flow for the set. But a beautiful neutral sig from Neuz is going to go ahead and secure that penultimate stock from Power. And we see Neuz trying to hang, gets caught there, but a beautiful save coming out from Power, because you know Neuz would have lost that stock right there.
Absolutely, yeah. At this point, you have to have Power pretty much just like being the guardian angel for Neuz, but in a situation like that, Neuz finding, I believe that was a D-Sig, removing Neuz from contention, down to their final stock on each, and I think even if somehow Neuz and Power turn this around, I want to see a legend swap going to the next game.
Yeah, it's tough to call now, mainly just because it's still relatively close. You hit Fiend with the strong one, there you go, and now we have even stocks. And so it's like not the worst, but Neuz has to hang on here. And so far doing a decent job. I mean, even if he's not like, even if he's getting hit, as long as he's hitting them more than he's getting hit, it's worth it just because you have that high attack stat. And that's a great start as well. But the moment like Fiend gets his claws on anybody, Neuz has to be right there to go ahead and break it up.
And I'm just thinking like maybe, you know, Fiend in this instance could be a slow starter too, but hold on to that thought for a second. We have red across the board. This is the moment of truth right now. Neutral sig barely connected the double side air. Neuz full control over blue team it seems, but no, the Sarah doesn't connect. Neutral sig coming up with the Kaya, and there it is. Okay, you know what?
And that's why you picked Brawlhalla.
Yeah, you know what? No legend swaps. I'm good. Let's keep seeing with it.
That was good. I mean, the red team really turned up on that final stock, though. It was like night and day. You could tell there was a moment where they just like felt like they got their stride. They felt like they had complete control of the stage, and they were just executing that control, right? They were just saying, hey, you want to be here, I'm going to hit you for it. Boom, comes through, slides in, slice, and it's like the down sig knocks up into the neutral sig from Brawlhalla. She just gets a very juicy double hit and double knockout as well. That's awesome.
That damage output almost inching towards the 1200 spot. I don't think we've seen any teams really hit 1100 so far, at least that I've recalled.
I think I saw one today that hit 1200, and it was because like who was it?
Oh, geez.
Someone, just one player hit like 700 plus damage on their own, and I was like, all right, bro, you got that.
I'm sure Twitch chat will be happy to tell us, but I mean, yeah, again, the damage output from Neuz in that final stock was incredible, and The big fear that I had going into this second game, regardless of win or loss, was that, you know, we see a lot of teams just go for these big adjustments, whether it be a stage or just their play style going to a second game, now that they had a second to breathe. I was expecting that to be having used to be a higher target this time around. We're not really seeing that because Power is driving the entirety of the force of both Neuz and Fiend over to him.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch. It's like Power is just like being such a good decoy, right? Like, hit me, hit me, hit me. He has more defense, he has high speed, so it's like a great decoy to have because he can absorb these hits. Speaking of absorbing hits, we watch a gravity cancel sidelight be absorbed by the face of Neuz as he loses his first stock, and use this, you know, the one with the least defense has the most stocks.
Yeah, I mean, again, Neuz's just manipulation of the stage has looked so good. He's only taking fights that he can find an advantage in, and a lot of that is just dropping down, finding the downlight, going back up into the air, and, you know, someone like Neuz, they're having a really hard time retaliating. They can't find those trades back. And so when Neuz, outside of the D-Sig there, the Super Snake, sends them away, for the most part, any hits that Neuz and Fiend can reliably get, again, is kind of on that decoy control Power.
Yeah, no, they're really just like, I mean, it's looking good for Neuz and Power right now. I wasn't quite certain before that it could look like super dominating, but right now, I mean, they got it. Granted, the stock count is even, so the blue team still has plenty of room to bring things back here. But as far as damage goes, red team has it, and they have positioning right now as well. If they can execute here, that would be monumental for their ability to take this game.
I do like the change that Neuz and Fiend are bringing out. They're essentially ignoring Neuz at this point. They're like, okay, no, we'll just focus entirely on Power, then worry about you later. But it has its drawbacks too, because Neuz, again, will just come in and go for these swings, whether it be a side air or any signature in the Jala kit at all, and that's just going to remove both of those stocks coming from Neuz and Fiend. They're down to their last ones.
Okay, and let's see here how much damage they can rack up. That down sig is going to go ahead and, you know, make things a little bit easier for the blue team, but they need stocks. They need stocks, not damage. They need stocks. Meanwhile, for the red team, any damage they get right now is just icing on that cake. That ground pound going to be huge. Fiend going to take some time to get back to the stage, and they use the opportunity to 2v1. It doesn't really lead to much, but the concept is there, right? Who cares? Whatever. It's Fiend. It's Neuz. She's slow. She's not going to do much. Huge opportunity missed by Neuz there on that edge guard, but that might be the stock there. No, gets a chance to charge the recovery and dodges the weapon throw as well. Red team's just fighting for stage now.
Yeah, literally any hit will remove Power. Well, there goes Power. And Neuz maybe soon to follow. Neuz is going in deep. He wants to be overzealous, but it takes a little pogo there to send it all down to their final stocks each. Let's see what the response will be now. Neuz without a weapon, goes in unarmed. Neuz evading them completely, and Power does have that axe. Good to find those starters again, just playing a very patient game against two legends with a lot of defense. Neuz was there for the follow-up on the neutral sig. Wasn't enough to connect, though.
Oh, and Neuz just looking for a hit here. I mean, Queen Nai approaching that perfect damage range to set up for those knockouts, especially from Jolly. You throw out a neutral sig, Nai won't even survive it at this point.
No.
We'll see probably a down sig. There it is, used the moment I say it.
Oh, there we go. Side air to confirm. Was that a dare?
Yes, it was, but not enough to secure the stock.
I blinked.
At this point, I mean, you just get one good hit at Fiend. It doesn't really matter. Maybe weapon throw to force a dodge. Doesn't quite line it up perfectly, so Fiend doesn't have to burn it. But, I mean, this slow aerial drift from Nai is not going to mix up anyone. It's just a matter of time here. Use downlight, calls it right there, and that's going to be using Power going up 2-0 against Fiend and Neuz, and they're looking good. 620 damage coming out from Neuz on that Jala as well, so you know he has to be happy.
I was about to mention, but just the raw output right now from Neuz, and the fact, again, that this dynamic is working so well. Power is driving, again, all of the attacks over to him. Neuz is there for that reliable follow-up, and this is like a wall that Fiend and Neuz have not been able to get past, but there is a change going into this next game. A double legend swap coming out here. I like this choice because I think the spear will activate a lot more. The double spear, no less, will help out so much because it felt like the weaponry was good coming out from both picks last game. It just felt like there wasn't enough like consolidation. I'm not sure what the right word is. It just felt like it wasn't connecting.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe just putting on some different threads is going to make Fiend feel a little bit better about this Nye pick, but I mean, you know, swapping over to that Asuka epic crossover skin for Nye definitely might maybe trip him up with how some of the different animations may look, or
maybe
alternatively, I mean, I know people who just kind of switch the color of the skin just for like a different vibe, you know. Sometimes it helps them activate certain parts of their brain, you know, get those synapses working. Either way, I mean, they have to make it happen now because Neuz and Power are one game away for securing themselves a spot into the Elimination Finals, and so far, it's looking like
it's a meltdown.
Maybe they won't quite get there.
The feed is still catching up with everything that just happened there. It was one after another, signature after sig, just removing everyone from contention. But now, again, Fiend on the Asuka pick. Good to hold things down. I want to focus for a second on Neuz on this Wushang, oh, I'm sorry, the Aang, because you have a little bit more flexibility. You have the gauntlets out now for the scrappier plays. The bow was pretty much only out for offstage play like side airs and only used for signatures.
I mean, no, you got it. That's Wushang right there. Big chillin'.
Yep.
Well, there we go. I mean, with that said, like, this one's going to be a little bit tough. I mean, the neutral sig from Queen Nye has always been exceptionally strong, right? And to my knowledge, I still think she has D-Light and sig as a true combo. I don't think that one ever got removed. I don't know that we've seen it at all in this game, but it's something that she does have in her arsenal. Okay, Fiend. Okay. Yeah,
good dare.
You tried it.
I found it eventually. Oh, boy. Now, Onus now on Power and Neuz. They're in a bit of a struggle spot there. Didn't take much to get the double KO.
It's looking like we're going to game 5 at the rate this is going. But maybe if they get Neuz right here and they collapse, there's still a chance. But it looks like maybe Miami Dome felt like the right place to be for this Wushang. Oh, beautiful conversion. Got the full N-Sig out, too. Doesn't even care that he got hit because he got the whole thing out already.
Yeah, there's a lot more pressure being applied to Neuz. I think the Nair's being found by Fiend here have just kept Neuz at bay, and we have really seen the 2v1s that the team was finding so much reliability on. Good ground pound. Fiend surviving, back off on stage, trying to find the reversal now on Power, and does a great job. The weapon throw off of the dare. Might be a little overzealous though, the reversal's out. Fiend did have the buffer room of a second stock, but now everyone's down to 1.
Yeah, and suddenly Neuz and Power have brought this much closer to the realm of possibility. Neuz is trying to get down. Doesn't want to get caught by Qatar recovery near the top of the stage just because the ceiling can be a little bit low. And with low defense like Brawlhalla, you might get KO'd early off the top.
Okay. Fiend just waiting to find the opportunity to go for the recovery. Wasn't able to connect too much. Having Neuz at bay. That low defense now. The true test, the recovery into the air. Weapon lost. But there it is! Wow, gravity cancel down sig just removes Neuz from the match. And this is it. This could very well be tournament stock now for Fiend, but this is entirely winnable.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you probably just go for like sidelight down sig. Even a Sayer was enough there. Now Fiend in the 1v1, going to be looking for these N-Light recoveries. Gets snatched away, but does manage to pick up this spear. And so now you can go for a pogo, you can go for a ground pound, you can start throwing out that side sig, maybe a down sig. You can take maybe one more down sig. All right, cool, and the ground pound's going to be enough. Fiend does it like I always call that one the gold killer because that one's just like it's the I don't want to play this game anymore option that people kind of throw out. I'm just gonna spear ground pound, and it works. It doesn't matter how skilled you are at Brawlhalla, as long as you just sneak it in unexpectedly, it'll catch people. That ground pound always works.
Just so much coverage. Good on stage, off stage. It's just the spacing, you have to respect it. And that's the toughest part, because you have so many reliable options out for the ground pound too, even if it doesn't connect or you spot dodge out of it. So much to do there, but I gotta say, still a close call though for Fiend and Neuz. Great opportunity for them to take it back with Neuz getting the 1v2. We're going to a new stage though. We're back to air. We're going for the first time to Air Temple, and I'm curious to see. Power and Neuz, it's up to them now to really change up that dynamic again and bring back that 2v1 prowess.
Yeah, and we'll see here. I mean, so far, I mean, that last game, like, you could see them clawing their way back anyway, right? It was like basically like 1 or 2 hits away from it being a victory in their direction. And so I'm sure going into this one, they're going to be a little bit more steeled in the way that they want to play. But first, can Power get back to the stage? Almost gets neutral sig by Neuz. And I feel like this platform layout, I don't know how much I like this for the red team, to be honest. Down sig's going to come out from Queen Nye. It's not going to be enough. But I'm like, with the spear on Queen Nye on this stage, I don't really know that you want to give her the option to try to D-Light you on these platforms.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I'm thinking about Power too and how he's just fishing for these nairs. He's not really able to find much out of the nairs because the floating platform just gives more escape options for Fiend and Neuz. Speaking of which, though, Neuz does fall, but Fiend is still alive, and he's able to remove Neuz too. And this means Power's left in this 1v2. Good for the side air. And there it is, ground pound. We talked about how it has so many options for you to not really escape it, but, you know, going lower than the ground pound, kind of playing the bluff there was such a good option.
Yeah, just fastballed, went right under the stage, says I need more space to the left to get away from this, and then coming back up. That was great defense that we saw there. But even with that said, I mean, still some work to be done here as Power and Neuz are starting to trail behind by a little bit. Not by a significant margin, but you can see the gap widening a little bit, so they have to strike back, and that neutral air is going to help them do that. We see the red team starting to regain control of center stage, and once they have control, they do a great job. And once you see, like, Neuz get sent off, wow, that was enough to KO?
Dude.
Ooh.
Good lord.
Power just finessed. Yeah, that's gonna be monumental.
Fiend is like, okay, well, let me just give you a little bit of space here. Let me find a way to reset things real quick.
Okay, and just like that, Power and Neuz this much closer. I mean, Neuz on the final stock, they're trying to rack up this extra damage. You can see Fiend like trying to approach, but he's playing Queen 9, trying to go for the D-Light exit. And I don't know if he did the dodge up. Dodge up is the only way, if I recall correctly, to get out of that true conversion from Queen 9. But he also could have just mistimed it.
Ooh, Fiend gave me a bit of a heart attack there for a second, almost missing that jump back to the ledge.
Okay, side
air. That's good to convert on the one. Power's the only one left with 2 stocks. Again, this is for elimination points, though, for Neuz and Fiend. Ooh. Now, especially Fiend, we're in the same situation as we were on Miami Dome. The only difference now is Power has 2 stocks.
Yeah, this one's a lot tougher of a comeback to make. You know, throwing out these nairs, maybe you get a side air on Power, maybe 2 side airs even, you might lose a stock, but really, I mean, I'm looking at Neuz being untouched right now. What is your answer for that? Because there's no combo or string that Queen Eye can do in the time that someone's respawning. That's not like an offstage. I mean, forget about it. The game's over. Power and Neuz are going to go ahead and remove Fiend and Neuz from this bracket and move on to the elimination finals to see if they can get their shot at the crew waiting in Grants.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one here because, again, we're coming to these small differences. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Not small differences in play style, major differences in play style.